Does the way you structure your speeches guarantee success? I will teach you how to structure a speech from the opening to the introduction, the body, the conclusion or closing, how to cook and hold them, and a bonus round of how to handle the Q&A sections. First off, we have the opening. This is about 10 to 15% of your speech. Your opening is your first impression, and you only have one chance to make a first impression. It should hold the attention of the audience. It is just like a trailer to a blockbuster. What you say in the first few minutes of your speech is what will determine if the people will keep on listening to you. You can start these with a shocking statistics. For instance, 90% of the startups fail within the first year. I will show you how to be in the 10% of those who succeed. Or you can start with a bold statement. For instance, everything you know about public speaking is wrong, and I will prove you why. Now, that's bold, right? Or you can start with a story. 5 years ago, I was broke, living on my friend's couch, unemployed, but now I have a multi-million-dollar company. I will show you how I got to that stage. After you've delivered a nice first impression, now you move to the introduction. In the introduction, this is where you will tell people what they came in for, what's in it for them. It is just like the menu in a restaurant. What's in there is what will determine if you will stay for the main course. You can use the triple P formula, PPP. The first P is for purpose. Why are you here? You can tell them, today I'm here to teach you how to increase your productivity in 30 days. And then move on to the second P, which is the promise. The promise is what's in it for them. You will discover 3 ways in which you can, or you will learn this and this and that. And then step 3, the third P, is for path. How will you get there? So we shall cover that by first identifying your time wasters, and then what you want, how to plan, and so forth. Just give them an overview. Don't give them everything, because there has to be surprises in your speech. Now we move on to the body. The body of your speech. This is where you deliver your goods. This is the reason why they showed up in the first place. You can use the 3 steps plan, because human beings love things in 3. So for instance, you can give them 3 problems and 3 solutions. For instance, problem 1, you are not audible enough. Solution, speak from your diaphragm, or get the voice from your stomach instead of your throat and chest. Problem 2, you are distracted. Solution, focus. Focus on just one thing. Problem 3, you forget your speech. Solution, rehearse. Rehearse it out loud as many times as you possibly can. Apart from the 3 problems and 3 solutions, you can give them 3 stories. A personal story, a career success story, a famous story. Or you can give them 3 steps. So step 1, identify your goals. Step 2, create a plan. And step 3, execute. The set of 3, or the rule of 3, can help you structure your speech in a more systematic manner. And you can also create a transition. For instance, you can tell them, now that we've covered X, we will now move on to Y. After a successful body and explaining all the details, you move on to the closing. Do you remember how I said that the introduction is your only chance to make a first impression? In the same way, the conclusion is your only way to make a lasting impression. This is what should keep them requesting for more. So you have to close strong. You can finish with a call to action. For instance, after this talk, I would like you to implement the 3 solutions we've talked about to make your life better. Or you can close with a famous quote. For instance, Maya Angelou said, most people won't remember what you've said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Or you can end with a story or a metaphor. You can tell them, life is like a marathon. It doesn't matter how fast you start, but how well you finish the race. So let's get out of our mindset, do this, break a bone, something like that. Finally, structuring a speech is important, but you have to engage with the audience. You have to create that connection with the audience. So how do you hook them and make sure that they hold on tight until the end of your speech? You can use emotional triggers to do that. You can use curiosity. For instance, what if I told you there's a way to increase your productivity and stop procrastination in 30 minutes? Or surprise. Can tell them, most people in the world, most successful people in the world don't work harder, they work smarter. Or you can use relatability, something they can relate to. Here you tell them, raise your hand if you've ever procrastinated on an important task. And there is a difference between telling them, raise your hand if, and how many of you have ever experienced procrastination? When you raise your hand as you say it, it will prompt more action than when you just say, how many of you have done this and that? Finally, the question and answer section. That is, if it's applicable in your speech, here is your chance to show your expertise on the field or on whatever you are talking about. Prepare for the common questions in hand. And when I say prepare, I mean rehearse again and again. Say them out loud. Try to answer them out loud. But there are some tough questions and you may get a tough one. So in case you do get a tough question, you can use the ABC formula. A is for acknowledge. That's a great question. B is for bridge. Show them how that question connects with what you've just covered. For instance, I will show you how that connects to what I've just talked about earlier. And C is for conclude. You can tell them, so to answer your question, this is what I recommend. Make sure that you connect well with the audience. Make sure that you have a killer opening. You have a nice introduction that will hook their attention, which is also promising. You have a body that delivers or that gives them what they came for. And you have a killer closing that will put that lasting impression in the minds of your audience, and you answer the questions that you'll get properly. I may not have said everything, so comment if you have other thoughts which you can use to structure your speech better. And next, we'll be talking about how to tailor your message to different audiences. Thank you. Comment.